I may ask you back, what can you do about it? What can you do? Are you going to say no to the new curriculum and not using the book? Are you going to quit school? No, right? So you have to make adjustments.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today our team, Pandawa 13, has a very special opportunity because we as a student, we're very proud and very happy to meet with one of the national figure, Mr. Anies Rashid Baswedan. As we all know, he served as Minister of Education for 2 years and was the Governor of DKI Jakarta since 2017 until 2022. And he also the founder of Indonesia Mengajar Community. And in this year, he was the candidate in the presidential election. However, today we will not discuss about Mr. Anies' political journey, but rather is his perspective on education in our country. So, Mr. I want to tell some story. Recently, I often feel like confused and a little bit struggle to adapt to the current curriculum system, which always changing for many times. Every time the minister changes, the system changes as well. We as a student have to continually adapt to a system that is always changing. So, in your opinion, what should we do to facing this issue?
Let me check your name again. Your name is Muhammad
Fatih Aminullah.
Fatih Aminullah.
Yeah.
Okay. Allow me to respond. System can change. Teachers can change. The books can change. And we have to be able to adapt to changes that is happening outside our control. You may be planning on going to a place and suddenly rain started. And then you have to make adjustment. You have to prepare an umbrella. You have to prepare a jacket. So I agree with you on the principles that continuity, consistency, and congruency is important in the policy-making level. But at the student level, ability to adapt is also no less important. So at the student level, at this moment, make adjustment and try to find out what are key lesson principles that you have to master in order for you to be a new generations that can win the future. So regardless of the kind of curriculum that is adopted, you are continuing to prepare yourself for the requirement to win the future. So if I may suggest to you, look at some readings about 21st century education requirements. And based on that, regardless of the type of curriculum that is adopted by the national government, which you have no control over it, right?
Right.
Focus on the 21st century education requirements, because that would be something that you will bring in to your future.
But sir, I think for adapt to some new system, we need a long time. I think when we already comfort by this new system, and then the minister is changed again, and we must adapt again. So I think it's like what it's hard for us if we must adapt again, again, and again like that.
It is challenging, of course, but if I may ask you back, what can you do about it? What can you do? Are you going to say no to the new curriculum and not using the book? Are you going to quit school? No, right? So you have to make adjustment. That's why I understand your concern, and that should be challenged at the policy making level. However, at the school level, at the scope of your study, let's look at it from the positive side. Okay, I will have to make adjustment. I will have to study again. I have to learn something new. I have to change my focus. I have to. So all of this, take it as an adjustment for you to face challenges, changes beyond your control. In life, there are so many things that you cannot control, and you cannot even complain about it. Okay? You, as I said earlier, you want to fly from Jakarta, let's say, to Makassar. You arrive to the airport and you plan to attend a meeting in Makassar. As soon as you get there, and then you are told the airport is closed for today. That's beyond your control. What can you do? So you will always see challenge, changes, and take this as a learning opportunity. If you ask me, Pak Anies, do you agree with those changes consistently? I will say no. Okay? I don't agree. I don't agree, and I think we should have consistency. However, if you ask me what should I do, I said make adjustment. That's for you, because at your level, at your scope, it's an opportunity for learning. So when you are going through an education process, take everything as a learning opportunity. Successes and failures, challenges and new challenges are all learning opportunities.
Okay, maybe I have some solution, Mr. Anies. I think in the next election you must win. So you can change the system of curriculum.
How old are you?
I'm 16 now.
So can you vote?
Yeah. For next election, maybe I can.
Inshallah.
Okay, Mister. I have some question. It's from my teacher. It's what do you think about this situation where the teacher let the student go to the next grade, but it's turned out the student haven't achieved the objectivities.
Say it again.
The situation where the teacher let the student go to the next grade, but it's turned out the student haven't achieved the objectivities.
Spend more time with the student. Give more attention to the student. Give more opportunity for the students. So when you are seeing a student are not able to achieve what was you mentioned about objective of the study, then give more attention. And I think it's good that your teacher is able to identify that this particular student has not achieved has not mastered some of the materials. Then we need to give extra time to that particular student. There is a simple principle that Not everyone learn at the same speed, and not everyone learns in the same way. There's always uniqueness to individuals, and it's very important to be able to identify who needs assistance, who doesn't need assistance. And for those who need assistance, then give extra assistance so that they will be able to be at par with their fellow students.
For the next question, maybe what should we do to increase the quality of our education? I mean, what are the aspects is more important that we need to concern for?
Okay, if I may underline a few things, this is for your generation, right?
From your generation.
But if you're talking about the school system and your pesantren, I think it's important that the institutions must declare itself as a learning institutions. What does it mean? It means that the teachers are learner. It means the principal or the head of the pesantren is a learner. And then the students were also a learner. If in the learning institutions assume only students who are learner, then it is not a learning institution. So who should be learning all the time? Teachers, school principals, and students. And if you are involving parents, then parents need to be learner too. So that's number one. If you are talking about the futures, what does it mean? It means all of us continue to open our mind to learn new things and to unlearn old things. Learning is two aspects. To learn and to unlearn. Sometimes we only focus on the first one, to learn new things. We forget to unlearn old things. And this is very important. You can do research on what is unlearning and study that. Okay? That's one principle. The second is we need to make sure that your generation is preparing for 21st century challenges. And the education that is provided to the students must at least focus on three areas. One, on characters. And we know that it's attitude. In some literature, it is called as behavior. So that's one. Number two is on literacy. Number three is on the competencies. So on the character, on your attitude, you need to have two aspects developed. One is the moral characters, such as honesty, iman, taqwa, tawadu. Those are moral characters. And then there is called performing characters, such as hard workers, endurance, and self-startership. Those are performing characters. That's one aspect. The second is literacy. What does literacy means? It's not about writing and reading only, but cultural literacy, financial literacy, technological literacy, civil literacy, as well as reading, writing, and math literacy. So you need to master that literacy. And then the third aspect is a competency, and this is the aspect that I think we really seriously need to focus. 4C. Okay. Let me work one by one. So number one is critical thinking. This is an aspect that needs to be developed seriously. In many of our education, most of our education is not developing critical thinking. And then 2 is creativity. 3 is collaborations. And 4th, let me think of this the last C here: creativity, critical thinking, collaborations. And I'll check later on. Now, is everybody carrying a cell phone or a piece of paper? Pada bawa HP nggak? Pada bawa alat tulis nggak? Papers. Saya mau kasih tugas buat anak-anak. Sudah ada semuanya? Ada semuanya udah ya? Udah, are you ready? Are you ready? Everybody ready?
Ready?
5 times 7 equal, please answer. Write it down. 5 times 7 it's equal, write your answer. It's a questions. What's the answer if 5 times 7 equal? 5 kali 7 sama dengan?
35.
Don't write it, don't answer. Write it down. Oh. Write it down. Write it down. Second questions. Second questions. Write 2 lines that rhymes. Do you understand the question? Write 2 lines that rhymes. Tulis 2 baris yang berpantun. Tulis 2 baris yang berpantun. Dua baris yang berpantun, berirama, bernada. Udah. Dua kalimat yang berpantun udah. Okay. Let me ask you simple questions. Which question was easier, the first or the second?
First.
First was easier than the second. Okay. Let me check. Did you answer the questions? Did you? Yes, you did. Okay. First questions.
First question is 5 times 7 is 4. That's 35.
35. Are you sure? Sure? 100%? 35. Confirm.
Yes.
Are you certain?
I said 35.
You're certain. 35.
Yeah, 35.
Anyone who has an answer that is not 35, raise your hand. None. Okay. Read your lines. Second questions.
Okay.
Kasih mikrofon ya, Pak. Ya. Kameranya ke sini. Kameranya ambil kanan.
Okay, well, read the second question. Write two lines to the right. Membaca buku di perpustakaan, tidak lupa membawa buku.
Membaca? Iya, Pak. Bahasa Indonesia nggak, Pak? Membaca?
Ya, membaca buku di perpustakaan, tidak lupa membawa kopi.
Membaca buku di perpustakaan, tidak lupa membawa kopi. Anyone who has an answer exactly like him, raise your hand. Ada nggak yang jawabannya sama? Nggak ada. Can you read what you write?
Jawabanmu, Pak, jawabanmu.
Baca aja. Yang Anda tulis.
Belum menulis.
Oke, kasih sebelahnya. Dua kalimat belum tertulis. Oke, yang Anda? Belum. Anda? Pantunnya?
Dalam sendiri membawa kelapa. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa.
Nah, daun sirih buah kelapa. Terima kasih dan sampai jumpa. Anda? Anda yang ujung? Oh? Coba baca.
Ikan sepat, ikan gabus, lebih cepat, lebih bagus.
Anda? Belum. Ikan sepat, ikan gabus. Lebih cepat, lebih bagus. Ibu bapak, this is second questions. The first questions, it can be asked in Jakarta, it can be asked in Mecca, it can be asked in New York, London. The answer is the same, 35. Okay? Pak Dandung is an engineer. He studied mathematics. Anywhere in the world, the answer will always be 35. But the second questions, even the person next to you has a different answer. Orang di sebelah Anda tidak mungkin jawabannya sama. Kenapa? Karena ini soal kreativitas. Yang pertama tadi, imitasi. Ya, itu belajar imitasi. Ikan sepat, ikan gabus, lebih cepat, lebih bagus. Itu kreativitas atau imitasi? Imitasi. Imitasi. Itu adalah yang sering dikatakan orang. Berakit-rakit ke hulu. Itu bukan kreativitas, itu imitasi. Saudara sekalian, kita mengajarkan anak-anak kita jadi imitator. Mengimitasi. Dan nilai tertinggi didapat oleh mereka yang bisa mengimitasi paling sama dengan yang diajarkan. Nih bacaannya. Coba Anda hafalkan. Yang paling hafal, yang nilainya paling tinggi. Pertanyaannya, masa depan kita membutuhkannya mana? Ini loh, nih. Creativity. Begitu dikasih pertanyaan creativity, nggak keluar jawaban. Nah, berarti ada masalah nih di sini. Sementara pemilik masa depan yang punya kreatif, ini saya tanya nih, HP ini dibikin pakai pertanyaan jenis pertama atau pertanyaan kedua? Enggak, HP ini. Ini engineer yang bikin HP ini. Betul ya? Ini pertanyaan pertama lah. Orang-orang yang bisa menjawab pertanyaan pertama, itu yang bisa bikin HP ini. Tanpa orang yang bisa menjawab jenis pertanyaan nomor 1, tidak akan muncul HP ini. Tapi yang membuat isinya beredar, yang pertanyaan nomor 1 atau nomor 2? Dua. Yang membuat konten bisa beredar yang mana? Nomor 2. Kita sekarang masuk di era yang kita butuhnya orang bisa mengisi dengan, tapi pendidikan kita masih fokus kepada pertanyaan pertama. Diingat-ingat ya ini ya. Karena kita ingin anak-anak kita jadi pemenang besok. Kalau pemenang besok, jangan sampai situasi tidak bisa jawab ini terjadi 20 tahun kemudian. Waduh, pendidikan saya nggak menyiapkan anak kita untuk jawab ini. Kalah. Dan ketika kalah, maka mereka akan bilang, dulu saya nggak disiapin. Itu yang saya bilang tadi, mau kurikulum apapun fokus di sini nih. Critical thinking. Critical thinking. Do we educate our kids to have critical thinking? Contoh paling sederhana, sambil saya tanya, ada yang punya pertanyaan yang terhadap saya nggak sekarang? Ada punya pertanyaan? Belum? Oke. Ini ya, sepanjang saya bicara, banyak yang bisa dikritisi. Yang tumbuh critical thinking itu setiap kali mendengar, setiap kali membaca, sambil memikir apa yang saya kritisi. Itu critical thinking. Salah satu aspeknya. Pelajari serius nih critical thinking. Kenapa banyak hoax beredar? Karena pembacanya tidak punya kemampuan berpikir kritis. Nggak mungkin. Kalau berpikir kritis nggak ada hoax bisa beredar. Hoax itu beredar di tempat yang tidak punya kemampuan berpikir kritis. Hoax pasti beredar. Penipuan online membutuhkan kemampuan berpikir kritis yang rendah. Pasti gampang ketipu. Kenapa? Karena tidak ada critical thinking. Ekstremisme tumbuh kalau nggak ada critical thinking. Critical thinking ini temboknya. Saya beri contoh, Pak. Pak Dandung ini pengusaha. Ada orang datang ke Pak Dandung, Pak Dandung, saya berikan uang 100 juta, dalam 3 bulan jadi 300 juta. Beliau begitu itu langsung, gimana mungkin? Ada critical thinking, nggak mungkin, itu Pak. Tapi kalau orang punya critical thinking, wah ini menarik betul ya, kasih 100 juta, dalam 3 bulan jadi, dengan disampaikan meyakinkan, wah ini menarik, ini top, ini kalau saya taruh 100 juta. Kenapa? Di dalamnya tidak muncul namanya critical thinking. Ekstremisme itu bukan agama saja ya, ekstremisme itu bisnis juga. Ini kan ekstrim, masa bisnis 100 juta jadi 300 juta dalam 3 bulan? Itu ekstremisme. Jadi jangan dibayangkan ekstremisme lalu agama, bukan. Ekstremisme itu segala macam pandangan yang ekstrim, termasuk bisnis, termasuk apa? Yang ketiga, kolaborasi. So you have to educate collaboration from early age. And nowadays, there is no way you can do many things without collaboration. The fourth is communication. This is, everybody knows this, communication. So I'm not giving example. So this is a long answer to your short questions. That if you're talking about the future, let's make sure that we are preparing our kids to be winners of the future. What I mentioned earlier is to win the future. And to do that, you have to do this. The question is, who need to start having this 4C? The teachers. If the teacher has no critical thinking, then the student will not have critical thinking. If the teacher has no creativity, the student will not have creativity. So who should learn this first? It's the teacher. Jadi pesan saya, guru-gurunya harus menguasai 4C ini. Jadi, kalau tadi dibuatkan mind map, Literasi jelas. This is work ethics, this is moral, this is the literacy, the cultural, the financial, and etc. And then the 4C. This is 21st. Now, let's remember that we are preparing our kids not only for today, but for future. Let's make sure that they meet this minimum requirement. Begitu ya? Oke. Back to you, Fatih.
Okay. I think it's enough the questionnaire for me. Thank you very much for Mr. Baswedan. And I think for the last, do you have any advice for all of the students in our country, or especially for santri and santriwati, and more specific is for santri and santriwati PT IQRO?
I think I've said what I wanted to say. Please make sure that the 4C, what happened is we have focused on this. We focus on this. Honesty, iman, taqwa, saleh, it's here. So it is important because it's number one. Ini nomor satu. Kalau karakternya nggak beres, maka urusan lain lewat. Jadi this is foundation. It is important and do not pay less attention because this is the foundation. However, only providing this is not enough. Let me give you an example. Mau nggak anak begini? Jujur tapi malas. Mau nggak? Jujur tapi malas. Kita maunya jujur dan rajin. Rajin itu di sini. Work ethic. Jujur itu di sini. Nah kita mengatakan yang penting anaknya jujur, tapi malas gimana? Mau. Tapi kita juga nggak mau rajin kerja keras tapi culas. Ya kan? Jadi jangan kalau bicara karakter itu hanya karakter moral, karakter kinerja. Karakter kinerja nih. Kerja keras, kerja tuntas, tahan banting, tahan penderitaan. Nah, ini namanya work ethics nih. Ini karakter juga. Yang kedua, literasi. Yang ketiga, kompetensi. Jangan sampai perhatian kita hanya di sini. Kita senang melihat anak kita rendah hati. Kita senang anak kita tawadhu. Senang anak kita hormat orang tua. Tapi malas. Tapi mudah patah. Betul ya? Udah, anaknya kerja keras, tapi nggak punya bacaan yang luas. Nah, kita juga nggak pengen, bukan? Nggak ngerti teknologi, nggak ngerti keuangan, nggak ngerti budaya, nggak ngerti. Wah, ini repot nih. Ini pengetahuan literasi dasar. Punya ini semua, tapi nggak punya kreativitas. Nggak punya critical thinking. Wah, repot juga. Jadi, tiga-tiganya tolong disiapkan. Lebih baik kena air dingin di pagi hari dan bangun. Ini mudah-mudahan jadi air dingin buat kita semua. Waduh, ini kita gimana ya nanti? Gelisah sekarang daripada gelisah besok. Karena terus terang ini yang salah satu yang saya sangat khawatirkan dari pendidikan kita. Oke? Saya mau ngomong lebih jauh lagi, tapi kalau kameranya udah selesai nanti.
Oke. I think that's all, Mr. Hopefully what you already shared with us can be useful for our future. That's all from me. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.